So a lot of talk over the last 2 days. I know the week is early, so we're only Tuesday, but a lot of talk over the last 2 days happens to be abortion in Arizona. Mm-hmm. It happens to be, well, what are Republicans doing?
Yeah.
Are they admitting that, hey, we like the 1864 law, let's keep it? Or are they trying to throw us a curveball, possibly by putting 2 ballot initiatives for us to look at in November? And if they're doing that, do they really care what we think, or are they trying to basically have the Arizonans for Abortion access, the one that apparently is definitely going to be on the ballot? They're trying to dilute it. Are they trying to make sure that 1864 stays in place? Because instead of 1 ballot initiative, the Republicans are now going to put a second and a third one on, and voters are going to be like, well, what? I don't know the difference. Are they trying
flood the zone
to confuse us? Is that the GOP strategy in the Arizona legislature?
Well, listen, how the legislature works is well beyond me. It reminds me of the old thing, laws get made. It's like sausage.
It doesn't work well.
Well, you don't want to see it either happen. But somebody who is intimately aware of it and has been smack dab in the middle of it is Kirk Adams. He is the former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives and the former Chief of Staff to Governor Ducey. And came to my attention today because Mr. Adams was tweeting to Republican legislators, people that he used to serve with, people that he was there, vote your gut on repeal. Interest groups are fickle friends. Joining us right now is the former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives, one Kirk Adams. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time today.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
So I thought it was interesting because, it's been very difficult to kind of figure out where a lot of the elected officials in Arizona stand. That you heard, I think you heard Gaydos' lead up to this, that it appears with this leaked PowerPoint now that we've read and is everywhere, that they are trying in some way, shape, or form to maybe just confuse the voters. I'm curious as to how you see this. Can I ask you the first question? Is that PowerPoint, is that how you guys do business? Is that kind of like standard operating procedure and we just get to see one of them?
Oh, look, there's a lot of discussions like that occur at the legislature. Not always put into PowerPoint form.
Probably never again at this point.
But look, I think that there are 2 ways that we make laws in this state, obviously through the process at the legislature and at the ballot box. And the legislature has equal access to the ballot box just as the citizens do. Mm-hmm. So it's not uncommon for the legislature to put a choice on a controversial issue before the voters. To me, that's not the real issue here. To me, the real issue is that the legislators, as they deal with this issue of should we repeal the 1864 law, what I'm saying is follow your gut on this. If you really believe that this is what Arizona's public policy should be, fine, follow your gut. If you believe that that's what your constituents really want, fine, follow your gut. But whatever you do, don't do it because a special interest group is telling you to do it. Mm-hmm. They are fickle friends, and they won't be there for you.
Don't you think most GOP lawmakers want to stay in 1864 when it comes to abortion?
No, I think those closed-door conversations are probably a whole lot more diverse than what they may be given credit for. Look, they voted for, just a couple of years ago, a 15-week ban on abortion.
Correct. The Ducey law.
Yeah, it's a 15-week ban on abortion. At the time, Roe v. Wade was still the law of the land and had been for 50 years almost, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So when they voted for that bill, there was not an anticipation by many of them that Roe v. Wade would be overturned and they'd be facing the prospect of a 150-year-old law. But now that they have the opportunity to deal with it. Because fundamentally, you can be pro-life. You can be a strong conservative and care about the life issue and also believe that there should be exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother.
Right. And I think you make a good point. If the folks there voted and liked the 2022 law, the 15-week law, They can have it back tomorrow. All they have to do is repeal 1864. So if they're not repealing 1864, Kirk, it leads me down to the road that they'd rather have 1864 than the 15-week, right?
Look, I'm not going to get into the minds of each of the legislators. I think what I'm saying to them in my tweet is do what you think is right on this issue based upon your core convictions and what your constituents want. Well, don't do it because some outside group is telling you to do it.
Again, we're talking to Kirk Adams, the former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives, intimately aware of how these machinations work. And, you know, playing off of that, Kirk, something you just said, there are special interest groups. Let's just put it, it's a pro-life groups that are pressuring, I guess you would say. And the way I read some of what they did is they're kind of threatening some of these Republican lawmakers that if you waver on this, good luck in your next election. I mean, are you reading that kind of the same way?
Well, look, I think it could be read that way, and I don't think anybody listening should be surprised that political threats are par for the course of the Capitol.
Yeah.
That's, you know, kind of baked into our understanding. What I really want it to be understood is that it is the conservative pro-life position to say that there should be exceptions at a minimum for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. And the current law doesn't do that, and therefore it is not sustainable. It's not sustainable from a public policy perspective. It's not sustainable from a political perspective. And this is why Representative Matt Gress attempted to do what he's done and been a leading voice in the Republican caucus. Hey, let's repeal this 150-year-old law because at the end of the day, if you believe in as few abortions as possible, then we need to go back to the 15-week law. Otherwise, we're looking at the initiative passing, and I don't think anybody who considers himself pro-life could support that.
Yeah, it basically re-enshrines the Roe law.
Absolutely.
I would say, yeah.
Right.
Hey, Kirk, if we go back to the 15-week where Ducey put that in, there was no exception for rape or incest in that one. Am I correct?
After 15 weeks, you're correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after 15 weeks, if you're raped or you can't have an abortion. Are you saying that we should relook at that? Are you saying we should relook at that?
No, that 15-week abortion ban is really a standard that's used throughout the world. It's used throughout Europe, for example, right? That is not a radical position. It's a reasonable position to take within a pluralistic society where not everybody believes the same thing.
Yeah, I would say it strikes me as a bit of a compromise.
I haven't had a problem with the 15 weeks. I do have a problem with no exception for rape or incest. I didn't have a problem with the 15 weeks. I thought that was, as you said, that's somewhat reasonable. I just didn't think no exception for rape or incest. I didn't think that was reasonable. That's just me.
Yeah, I think the theory behind that public policy, as I said, it's a standard that is used throughout the world in many countries, is that in that 15-week period of time after a horrible incident like that occurs, that there's an opportunity to take care of that situation before the 15 weeks. This to me really comes down to, if you're a state legislator, what do your constituents really want and what feels right to you?
Okay.
Do not fall into this trap of believing that a special interest group is going to somehow have your back, because history tells us they won't.
Yeah.
And I gave the example in my tweet, Bruce, of former Speaker Rusty Bowers.
Exactly.
Very, very conservative legislator, very pro-life, very school choice, conservative economic policies. And because he diverged from the Center for Arizona Policy in small ways on LGBT issues,
they excommunicated,
they
right?
campaigned against him and endorsed his opponent who, was with them on that particular issue.
Right.
My point is that these special interest groups aren't going to be there for you.
Yeah. Hey, Kirk, I really appreciate your time and kind of explaining a little bit how this goes. It is fascinating, kind of what's happening in the state of Arizona. Never a dull moment. My last question: are you happy or sad that you're not the Speaker of the House right now?
Oh, I'm happy as a clam.
That's what I figure. He's Kirk Adams.
It's
Thank
a
you for
tough
your
job.
time.
It's a tough job.
I will acknowledge that. Appreciate your time today. Thank you, sir.
It's a
Thank you both.
It's a certain show over there, and I'll leave the word before show
a
out.
bit of a circus, needless to say, and you got to be the guy with the whip and the chair in the middle of it. That's a former Speaker of the Arizona House of Representatives, Kirk Adams, and former Chief of Staff to Governor Ducey.
He's telling Republicans just be real. Vote your gut.
Stop with the silliness, which is basically the pressure they're getting behind the scenes. They know what the right thing to do is. It appears they're maybe more afraid of the special interest groups than they are of the voters, Gaydos.
This isn't coming up for a vote at all.
We'll see. They're getting pressure. We'll find out who exerts more of it.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.